I'm your host, Sonata, and today I am having a very interesting topic to discuss. I do have a guest for you. She shares her inspiring story of quitting alcohol and all the benefits behind it. I hope you're going to enjoy this episode. Let's bring Brittany in. Hi, Brittany.
Hey, Sonata.
I am very excited to have you here. Thanks for coming.
So welcome. So happy to be here.
And I am very excited as well to hear your alcohol free journey. And I wanted that journey to share with the viewers. So, first, I would like to hear more about you. Can you tell me?
Well, I am a marriage celebrant. I'm based in Byron Bay. I get to marry people for a living, so it's pretty
Mm.
good. I decided to take a break from alcohol 12 months ago, and fast forward 13 months, I'm still alcohol free, and now I'm on your podcast talking about it, which is so wild, but super exciting. And yeah, I think if my story can help at least one person, then my intention has been set, and it's amazing to be able to do that.
Yeah, this is the whole purpose of this podcast is just to deliver value to people, just share other people's stories and get inspired. And I think your story, it is very inspiring and I think can walk in a lot of people and make some deep changes. And so going through your alcohol-free journey, I think the first question would just pop in my head. What made you decide to quit alcohol?
I think for me, alcohol has been such a huge part of my life. As the Australian culture is, you drink when you are celebrating, you drink when you're sad, you drink when you are bored, lonely. So much of drinking was a part of me, and I'd be lying if I said that I didn't love it. I absolutely did love it. I loved parts of me that came out when I was drinking, where I was a bit more confident. I'd have deep conversations with people because they'd let their hair down, they'd be a bit more vulnerable. I love connecting with people. So I find that when people have had a few drinks, they kind of get a little bit more vulnerable. But then I think as I started to get older, I started to realize that the parts of me that I didn't like were showing a lot more. And the parts of me that I didn't like were I was, groggy when I'd wake up in the morning, not motivated to work on my business. My relationships were suffering because I wasn't present. Sometimes I get really mean. Like if I was drinking heavily and I wasn't in a good place, I would lash out at people that I really loved. And next morning I would wake up and I wouldn't remember it. And like I'd had ruined relationships and friendships because of my drinking. And I just think I got to a point where I'd been sober curious for about 3 years. It wasn't ruining my life. So it wasn't like I had like this massive, problem with it, if you say, but like I think for 3 years I'd been sober curious of like what would life look like without alcohol. But the thought of actually doing it and going sober was like, no, I couldn't do that. Like I love drinking, I love going out, and I love partying. How could I ever go to the pub and not drink? So I think for me, the reason why, I guess to come back to your question, was because I started realizing that the parts of me that I didn't like far outweighed the parts that I did like about me when I was drinking. So I did the 6 week challenge, which is Danny Carr. She's a local
Mhm.
lady who runs the 6 week challenge called How I Quit Alcohol. And through that, I learnt a lot of tools and different ways to self-regulate, uh, to kind of look at life without alcohol. I learnt different ways of looking at that, and then I decided just to do 12 months, and I was like, I just love it. I feel like I haven't stopped. I haven't stopped learning about myself. I haven't stopped being curious about me and this new part of me. And like, I think 2 months after I gave up alcohol, I quit my part-time job, went full-time in my business, and I just haven't looked back. I love it so much. I have so much energy, so much more confidence, and I just don't think I will go back.
That's incredible. So, did you start drinking like when you turned 21? Was that basically the time? And then you just kept going, like social drinking normally? For
No,
how long?
so in Australia,
Mm.
you can start drinking at the age of 18.
18.
But I
Yeah.
went to Vegas at 21 because I feel like that's a rite of passage
Yeah.
for all Aussies to go over to Vegas when they're 21.
Hmm.
But no, the first time I ever drank was I was 13, and it was sort of like a thing to do. I lived in Alice Springs, the Northern Territory at the time, and I had just like I come from a family of 6, but we're not all like related,
Hmm.
I guess,
Hmm.
by blood. So I was growing up in like a bit of a broken family. Like my mum and my dad separated when I was 3. Um, and I guess back then they didn't really have like I love my family. I mean,
Hmm.
my mum and dad, I love them so much, but they didn't have the tools back then to work through what they went through, and yeah, drinking became the norm and
Hmm.
became something that I was modeled to when I was younger. Um, and being the youngest of 6, I was always quick to grow up. I was always the one that was wanting to grow up quicker
Hmm.
than what I needed to. And I guess also watching my family be so separated, I couldn't understand when I was 3 years old. I couldn't understand why there was so much unhappiness in the family. Like, and my parents trying to hide me from the fact that they were divorcing, were just pretending like everything was okay. But me being the person and the intuitive person that I am, I knew that something was up, but I guess they didn't really know how to explain it. So yeah, when I was younger, it was full of confusion, full of DV, full
Hmm.
of yeah, just going from one place to the other, getting torn between families, and it still reeks into like my life at the moment. Like even with the dysfunction of the families, it still is quite present in my life, and it's hard. It's been hard to deal with over the years, but I think with alcohol, yeah, as I was just modeled it, and I think with taking that part out of it, like taking alcohol away, I've been really able to see that my parents did the best that they could with the tools that they had. But it's my job now to take care of me. Like,
Hmm.
I don't need to be the scared little girl anymore. Like, I can be the resourced adult,
Yeah.
which I've had to learn to do that. And taking out alcohol has been the first step of so much like unlearning, and all the layers just keep coming and coming and coming, and it's been an interesting journey.
I feel my personal awareness around the alcohol and role modeling. So I think we've both been from families that they do socialize, they like to drink. We've been exposed that since young age. So I think we really normalized and being so deep in it, sometimes we do get lost and our personalities get confused, with how our parents brought us and the culture. And then I think you just need to sort of move through life to understand who you are and pick your choices, how you want to live, which is what you've done it
Mm.
and continue on doing. And it's beautiful to watch. And I feel as well when we drink, we do like to numb ourselves. We like to numb those emotions, and alcohol does help to do that. But the thing is, the emotions don't go away, and we never resolve the problems that existing. So, seeing your parents separating when you were 3, were they hiding themselves with alcohol? Did you notice that? Were they
Were they hiding
like the
themselves?
yeah, were they yeah trying to drink, and because it obviously difficult decision for them to make,
Mm.
and it's hard when you have a family and you feel like problem solving was with trying to introduce alcohol and just having it as like support to
Yeah, I
basically
feel like yeah, I feel like alcohol was such a just a big thing. Like it was the normal thing to do growing up. Like we'd have a barbecue, the adults would be getting drunk, the kids would be playing. We had like such a great childhood growing up. We'd go camping every Christmas, but you kind of look back on it, and now it was a chance for the adults to just sit down and get pissed, really. And
mm,
we were the kids that were kind of just off, playing hide and seek, or I had, yeah, very Australian
yeah.
Aussie outback upbringing, and it was just normal for all of us to kind of be around it.
Pretty much. So when you decide to quit and make some changes in your life, were there ever a moment that you wanted to do that before, or was this that 13 months ago was your decision? You
It's a
ever?
good question, because I had been sober curious for about 3 years, and it was my move to Byron Bay that kind of started that journey. But I was in a relationship when I'm 31 now. I was in my first like real relationship when I was 19, 20. And he actually brought to my attention that I would get drunk and then like say some mean things to him, and then the next morning he'd be angry at me and I wouldn't remember what's happened. And I think that was what started the sort of like, oh, why do I do that, and how do I do that? And that's kind of scary. That started me on like okay, I need to go maybe get a little bit of help. But I was only 20 at the time, so it didn't really sink in until probably late 20s, when I was like, oh, maybe I need to go and have a look at some trauma or PTSD sort of therapy around my childhood. Because what I've learned is we are brought up in conditions, and we are a product of our environment. So although my parents did the best that they could with what they had, there was a lot of trauma that I went through, moving house every 3 years, changing schools like over 6 times, seeing my mum, upset, dad upset. I was always trying to fix my parents, and that's trauma. Like, a child should never have to feel like they need to fix or are responsible for their mum or dad's feelings. And I think as I got into adulthood, that pressure became a lot. So I would numb it out with alcohol, and I would numb it out with partying, and then in turn I was repeating the same behaviors. I was going into relationships and ruining them, perfectly good relationships, and ruining them because I was hurting and I wasn't understanding what I needed, which is what I needed was to learn to love myself and understand that I don't need to fix everyone, and I don't need to fix my parents. Like, they are responsible for their own emotions. And yeah, I think it's been a lot of realizing that. And if I could give any advice to anyone feeling like, that they're a people pleaser, or that they are, going through the same sort of struggles around guilt, shame, like, it would be to start focusing on what you can control in yourself. Because, you can look outside and you can look at a relationship, you can look at, shopping addiction, relationship addiction, sex addiction, whatever you want to call it, alcohol addiction. You're always looking outside yourself to feel good. And what I've learned is that it starts within. The relationship with yourself is the most important, and then you can start. Yeah.
I think is the way to make all the relationship with objects, with people. As soon as you get a good relationship with yourself, then you can have a healthy relationship with everything. And it's a beautiful thing that you raised the question and trying to go deep into your emotions and saying, do I have a problem? Do I have bad attachments? Do I really adopt someone else's trauma that ruins my own life and the quality of life?
Yeah.
And it's beautiful that you actually went through the work and you've done the work and you made so many great changes physically and mentally. And we're going to go so deep in it because I think you're going to be such an inspiring person for a lot of Australians. And just want to ask you, because working in the health industry, and surely you get people that they love social drinking or they love unhealthy food, fast food, whatever, is they attach to that self-happiness. They receive the happiness through it. And when you decided, I'm just wondering what sort of challenges you went through at the start. And if you could share the tips, is that normal to inspire others?
Yeah. There's so much there, because I think I did go through a bit of an identity crisis, because I was like, how am I going to socialize without alcohol? Because I love having I love getting a bit tipsy, and, it brings out that confidence in me. But I think what really needed to happen was I needed to I needed to find that confidence within myself, which I've found tenfold. So the tips that I think I would give is, what part of me needs something outside of me? So like it's really about just taking a moment and consciously saying to yourself, like, why do I need that sugar hit? Why do I need that drink? If you're going out to do it socially, like, I feel like, this, I'm not here to say give up alcohol. It's a demon, and you need to. I think it's with anything. Really start asking your questions. Why? Why do you want that thing? And is it serving you? And is it, if you want to be fit and healthy, is having a binge on the weekend going to help your fit and like health and fitness goals? Is it going to help your business goals? Come Monday, are you going to be groggy? Tuesday, still going to be a little bit, lagging behind? Like, what is it that you want? And really have a good inventory and have a good community around you, because I don't think I would have been able to do this year without support. Like, I don't know, I say that I was addicted, but I think I was addicted to the numbing. I was addicted to the escaping. But addiction comes in all different forms, like I said, but it's because it's a mental health condition. Like, you're suffering. So that's why you're addicted to something. And Gabor Mate really explains this so well. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. He wrote the book In the Realm of the Hungry Ghosts, and he's like a trauma-informed addiction doctor, and he really debunks the myth of ADHD and addiction coming from like being hereditary. And I got a late diagnosis of ADHD, and I've always thought it's run in the family, and it's all of that. But what actually it is, well, this is what his theory is it's you're a product of your environment. So you deal with your mental trauma, you deal with it, and then you won't be addicted anymore. And I honestly think that that's so true, because I was addicted to alcohol because I was suffering. I was having all this mental trauma from my childhood. And once I've dealt with that, which I'm still going through it, but once I've dealt with that, I actually think I could, be around. Actually, no, I won't say that. Let's cut that. I was going to say I probably could go back to drinking, but that's kind of, it's not, it's a bit of a double-edged sword. You couldn't, addiction comes in all, it's a sneaky thing. It's a sneaky bitch.
It's a sneaky bitch. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And did you need to make any lifestyle changes at the start? Do you feel like you needed to cut some relationship with some people, like friends, change the way you spend your weekends? Did it had an impact when you made a decision? Was it easy?
Yeah, it was. I think I was ready. The best part about it was I was ready and I was determined, and my why was really strong. And my why has been building up for the last 3 years, and it's because I want a better life. I don't want to continually make these mistakes that alcohol make me do, which is be lethargic. I'm not motivated to, run my business. I'm not motivated to write a ceremony script. My relationships are suffering. Like, all of those things just like they're hitting me in the face. I was ready to just like, all right, I'm on my knees, someone help. And that 6-week challenge was huge. Like, it taught me so much, and it just kick-started what I think will be a forever journey of not drinking. And I love going out, having a dance, and being around people now. I think at the start it was a bit triggering going to the pub or going out, but not for long, because I love people and I love connecting, and weddings are so much more vibrant, and I'm so much more present, and I'm the best celebrant that I've ever been, like being sober. Yeah.
Wow. I think a lot of people can relate to your journey, and thinking when you mention I build up my why, and I think some people that might be listening, they can feel that emotion that something is wrong, you need to make a decision, you have to change some things. It's not working out. Some people just lost, they don't know where to begin, what to do, what to what to quit, what to start. And I think to make that first step is always the hardest because you need direction.
Mm-hmm.
And yours, I think, was more intuitive as
Mm.
well. Like you knew that you need to. And I like that you mentioned start controlling things that you're in charge so you can do that without anyone. So I think the first thing is definitely what you in control is what do you put in your body, is the food, is the drinking, is there anything. If you can control that, a lot of
Mm.
things can change from there. And
100%.
then you see,
And I like what you said there because I've met a lot of people that are a victim of their childhood or a victim of, oh no, they did this to me, so I'm going to, sit in this. And I just find it, it's sad, and it's sad what has happened to you, like, or just it's sad what has happened to me. But I feel like if we continue to stay in that victim mentality, then nothing changes. If nothing changes, nothing changes. And I think it's really important to take responsibility for our lives. And like, I'm not perfect, but I think it's really good. Like, there's so many podcasts, there's so many therapists out there, there's so many, community based programs that you can do to kind of step into looking at your addictions. Free stuff, if you're financially not well, you can start doing the free stuff. But yeah, it all comes down to a decision, and it's scary. Like, I remember thinking, there is no way that I can give up alcohol. I remember, like, I'd get to Thursday and like I'd start having a glass of wine, cooking dinner, because that was my ritual. I loved cooking dinner and having a glass of wine. And then after I'd have one glass of wine, I'd have another, like a second glass. And then the next thing, the bottle's gone. And I'm like, oh, why do I do this? And then I'm hungover the next day. And then that would just kickstart, like, 2, 3, 4 days of binge drinking. And it just became like I was the type of person that would have one but couldn't stop. And like, I just was like, why am I like this? Why can my best friend have a glass of wine and be like, I'm happy to go home? And I'd be there sitting like, I want to go out. I want to keep going.
mm-hmm.
I just could never understand it. So there's people out there that are like that. And I feel like, yeah, I was there. I was there 13 months ago, and I'm feeling so much more clear, so much more vibrant, so much more energy, and yeah, just loving life.
You do look like it, to be honest.
Mm.
Very vibrant, very alive. You glowing, and I knew that you before you made that decision, and I
Mm.
saw you changing, and this is great. So let's jump on. Just say how much impact did it had to your physical and mental health. But let's start with the physical because you made massive improvements with your physique as well, and yeah, you lost a bit of weight, which is I think we know that alcohol does make you put on
Yeah, well, it's
weight.
inflammatory. Like
It's
it's
inflammatory.
empty calories, and it's
Yeah. And then when
makes you
you,
lethargic.
yeah, and
Yeah.
then you drink and then you want to eat, so increase your appetite. And yeah, so that's one of the reasons why it is good to cut down a little bit on alcohol, cut down completely. And yeah, just share with the audience what impact it had on your body
Um,
from the start to this moment.
well, first of
Yeah.
all, like my body in terms of brain, like my
Mm-hmm.
brain, we'll just start there. Like, I was chasing dopamine through alcohol. Like, I would find that I've been diagnosed with ADHD, but the inattentive one. So I was super fatigued all the time. So I would be reaching for a drink to give me energy. So to take that cheap dopamine away and like actually fill it and have the energy to fill it with natural dopamine has just been a game changer, because I've been able to lose, the weight, which I think I've lost like 10 kilos in the last year. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which it feels amazing because like I can move around more comfortably. I feel like I look good in my clothes now. I just feel confident, and like I like going for walks and runs, and well, actually not running, but like
You
fast
walk.
walking.
You move more. Do you feel like it increased your fitness in general, but do you feel like it as well improved, like you want more to train, like you want to move more? Before you said you're like, I'm not feeling motivated.
Yeah.
Did it feel like it spiked up a little bit more of movement into your life?
Yeah, totally. And like
Mm.
just even my mobility, like I've never took the time to stretch and like work on my mobility, but now like I have so much time because I'm not wasting it drinking, or I'm not wasting it thinking about drinking, or I'm not wasting it being hungover. I've got so much time. So I, you know, I can touch my toes in terms of my flexibility is just so much more,
Mhm.
so much better. And quality of life is so much better. Like I started studying. I have never liked studying ever, but you know, I finished my breathwork facilitating course. I've got like,
Congratulations.
thank you.
Mhm.
I've done a lot of other different courses throughout the year, and yeah, I'm just like, like this brain is like, I just want, I'm hungry for knowledge. Whereas like I think before I was um, just wanting to be a rat bag and just wanting to go out and get drunk and not really care about what I was doing. Like it was just, yeah, living
Ok-
for the weekend.
Well, yeah, just sharing a little bit of facts. So we do know for a fact that drinking has an impact to your brain. So memory loss, fatigue,
Mm.
anxiety, depression, all of that. So as soon as you're cutting that off, you probably can see a great improvement straight away with mentally. And yeah, the capacity just keeps growing from there. Yeah.
Yes and no. It's a bit of a
Mm-hmm.
double-edged sword, because once you take away the numbing agent
Mm-hmm.
of where you can, you know, zone out and not have to deal with it, um, then becomes the, oh wow, okay, there's some things that I got to deal with. And that's when I will say it's good to have the support group. It's good to get into the 6-week challenge that I started with, because that's so much support. You have a community of
Mm-hmm.
like-minded people all going through the same stuff. When I finished the 6-week challenge and I was moving into the 6-month, 9-month mark, that was when it was really like, I could just go and drink. Like, you know, this stuff is hard work. Like, you know, and when I'm talking about like the mental stuff and like having to do the work, that's why they call it work, because it's hard. It's hard work. You have to sit with yourself. You have to learn what are your triggers, what's happening, how to self soothe. Like, that's the hard stuff. And I think, but it's so worth it. Like, so worth it. I forget the question now.
I think you pretty much answered. And I like that you keep mentioning it is a hard work
Yeah.
to work with yourself. So sit down, have a conversation, address what the problems are. And often, what we do, we look for the problems from others. So our spouse, our children, our job, you know, they make me miserable. I can't start, can't do this. And focus on yourself where you can improve. And I think it's really important because from there you're gonna grow. And this is what you do, and it is hard work. But
Mm.
again, mentioning abandoning yourself, not feeling great, not liking yourself, reflection in the mirror, not feeling your best, it is hard as well.
But when you
So
do hard things, Sonata,
yeah.
you like, you set a goal, whether it be little or big, and you reach that goal. Like the amount of pride and like self-love you have for yourself just flows through, and then it just then goes triple, like a trickle effect out to everyone that you meet and see, and it becomes such a huge thing. Like your growth is your responsibility, but then also it helps other people see that it's possible as well. Like, yeah, it's a lot of people say to me who know me, like, oh, you didn't have a problem with alcohol, or like, this is really shocking to hear all of this stuff. And I think it's easy to say I didn't have a problem with alcohol because I wasn't waking up every morning and you know, shotting vodka.
Mhm.
But I think my problem with alcohol stemmed deeper in the fact that I was using it to escape. I was using it to numb. I was forgetting things. I was, you know, like, and just, I wasn't living to the best version of that I wanted to live. So yeah, it was an issue, and it was an issue for a very long time because I knew that I wanted to give up, but I just couldn't. Like I couldn't. So I think for me, it was an issue for a very long time, and it was really lonely. It was a lonely time because I felt so ashamed. I felt like I couldn't tell anyone that I have a problem. But like when me and my girlfriends would go out for, you know, an afternoon soiree, I would want to keep going, and then and because we'd all sort of go home because we're well resourced adults, I'd go home and keep drinking, and I would, yeah, it was shameful. I was lonely. I was isolated, and I just think if anyone is feeling that way, like shameful of their drinking, knowing that it's a problem, to just make sure that they reach out, because shame breeds in silence. And
Mhm.
it's when we speak up and we just say like, I got a problem, like where do I start? Like help. Then that's when it, you know, that's when it all begins to change. And yeah.
you can get stuck in being in that shame, I think,
Mm.
and it's really hard to shake it.
Yep.
And I think looking, that's what he said, looking for support and looking for same-minded people, that's the way out. Did
Yeah.
did you get support from your family when you decided
Yeah.
to get, yeah.
Yeah, I did actually. It was I don't know, I think a lot of them didn't take me seriously to
Mm-hmm.
start with. And I think also because I wasn't really saying how serious it was. I was kind of just, but now I shout it to the rooftops. I tell people that I did have an issue and I did have a problem because I think, when I was listening to podcasts and watching people's stories, it really helped me hearing true stories. So I just tell people how it is now. And I think it was a bit confronting for some family members,
Mm-hmm.
might still be a little bit, but I don't judge. Like, I'll go to family functions, everyone will be drinking and having a good time, and that's their life and their journey. And I think that's really important because you can get stuck in this I'm better than everyone sort of thing, like, and in mindset, which I would, I got to check myself in terms of my family. Like, I'm like, I want to help them. I'm like, life's so much better without alcohol. You should try this. But I just got to be like, yeah, sit back and let them decide what they want, because it's not for everyone. Like, some people don't have problems with drinking, and some people don't have the mental trauma that, I was going through. So I really encourage people just to follow their own path and they just figure out what they need. Um, and yeah, if drinking is working for you, then that's great, and I think that's awesome. For me, wasn't my cup of tea. It wasn't my thing that I was good at.
I like that you're coming from non-judgmental place. Funny fact, so I am as well from a family, and it's Eastern Europeans. They do like to drink,
Mm.
and I'm honestly very grateful to my parents because I remember when I was little, they always used to say, "Think for yourself, find a solution," all these sort of things, and then they train you to basically think for yourself, and then you see them drinking, you're seeing them behaving weirdly, and I was like, I don't like you like this. I
Hmm.
like you when you're sober, because this is not the version that I like of you. And I did not agree with that lifestyle, which was very
Hmm.
funny. This is why I basically never really drank. I think I only got drunk once when I was 15, and
Wow.
I got so intoxicated. And since that moment, I remember so clearly, I said, I'm never going to drink again. Since since this day, I basically cannot drink any spirits. I just get a smell of it and it just makes me sick. And even if I drink, that's just so rare. Like, I would have very like glass of wine or something
Hmm.
once every couple months or something like that. So it's really not necessity in my life. But thinking being conditioned like that with your family, seeing them misbehaving, I never judge them, but they really helped me as well, the way they taught me, raised me to
Hmm.
be your own thinker, think for
Hmm.
yourself and
Yeah.
make your decisions. And
Hmm.
this is why it feels like, yeah, I become who I want to be and I'm not following my parents' footsteps, and this is great.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting about, like, to find your own journey, but then also, like, it can be hard and confusing, especially with this thing that is so powerful. Alcohol is so powerful. It's the only drug that we have to, justify why we're not doing it. Like, it's everywhere, especially in weddings too. Like, people always ask me how I go at weddings, and like, I just have, after a ceremony, I just have my non-alcoholic beer because I
Mm-hmm.
love the taste of beer,
Mm-hmm.
and I just have that, and then I'm fine, and I don't have to keep going. But um, yeah, it's everywhere, and it is a hard thing. Like, I have a family member who's exactly like you. They saw exactly what happened with our family and how alcohol has destroyed a few of them, and they went the complete opposite way and was like, not for me. Whereas most of us were all like, yes, let's keep going. Let's keep creating the generational trauma.
And there are a lot of traumas, to be honest. Even
100%.
when I
Mm.
remember, and even when you drink, so people do get angry, they get irritated, they feel judged. a lot of times. I don't know where's that coming from, but and you notice that they just don't solve their problems. And when they drink, you see all those patterns
It
come
changes
up in the
people
surface.
so
Yeah.
much. But also, like, we can't say that alcohol is all bad because
Mm.
otherwise, why would we
Yeah.
do it?
Yeah.
There's a lot of good things about drinking alcohol. And I think once we can acknowledge that, then we can acknowledge why it's so bad for us. So,
Mm.
we acknowledge why it's good and what it brings to our life. And then we, do a bit of a pros and cons list.
Yeah.
So that's where I would start if anyone's struggling with alcohol. You're not an idiot for drinking alcohol. Obviously, there's good
Good. Yeah.
good reasons why why you're drinking. But then really to, have a hard look at yourself and your next, 20, 30 years, what does that look like? Which can be hard for some.
Mm. I feel alcohol is like a slow poison. So you don't feel the side effects right away, but when you go for 10, 20 years, that's when it really shows up. And
Yeah.
clearly, we all know the reasons and what does to our bodies over the time, and all the heart diseases, the blood pressure, the yeah,
So
the
yes,
mental problems,
liver
livers,
failure.
yeah,
Blah.
yeah.
Oh, it's so,
Oh,
yeah, it's horrible.
it is.
You're slowly killing yourself. It's like smoking. I smoked for,
Did you smoke?
yeah.
Yeah, I did not know that.
I know, because I try not to ever tell anyone. But yeah, I smoked for a very long time. And that's another one that was a really hard bloody thing to get rid of. Nicotine is like worse than heroin, apparently. I haven't done heroin, but apparently it's
Hmm.
as bad as heroin. And I smoked for a long time. And then I went to vaping, which is even worse because it smells like or tastes like bubble gum and you
Hmm.
can do it in your bed.
Hmm.
So even giving up that, it was like, oh, but I gave up that before I gave up alcohol. So
That's good on you.
yeah,
So
it's
you
about
done,
2.5 years now with no nicotine.
and how long did you smoke?
Oh, 15.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that was a huge accomplishment.
Yeah, that's a big
That
one.
was that
I
was a
kind
big
of
one.
forget about that because I'm like, thank God I don't smoke anymore. But yeah, that was a big one.
That can be really hard for some
So hard.
people.
I
Yeah,
think it's
when
probably harder than alcohol, to be honest.
yeah.
Give or take.
But even when you've done that for quite a few years, it gets harder and harder each time. So you've done it really well, and
Mm.
just I can't wait to see what's next with you. Like it's beautiful,
Mm.
and I like few things you shared even on your social network, all your journey from the start to the end. And what I've really noticed, it's the glow, how much glow you have in
Mm.
you, and comparing then and now.
Mm.
It's incredible. And
Mm-hmm.
do you feel like as well making that decision? So I'm cutting the alcohol out of my life, but did you make other decisions? Do you feel like, okay, I'm gonna start changing more things, implementing positive habits into my life? What do you feel you started to integrate
Oh
into your lifestyle?
gosh, where do I start? Probably boundaries. Like
Yeah.
my boundaries are pretty solid now in terms of like what I want and what I don't want in relationships.
Mm-hmm.
I really find that like friendships as well. I know what is fun and what isn't. Like
Mm.
yeah, deep conversations. I love getting to the vulnerable parts straight away.
Mm.
And I love other business owners, like-minded people, growth mindset. Um, yeah, I wasn't sure of what I wanted or who I wanted to surround myself, I guess, when I was drinking because everything was rose-colored glasses, right? Everything was a bit hazy. So yeah, big things like that. My values, like connection is huge in my values. Fun, flexibility, freedom, like all of those things. I'm now creating the life that I want. Like I woke up this morning and, at 12 months ago, on a Thursday, I'd have to be rushing to the office to get there by 8:30 to stay there till 5, and then going to the gym at 5:30, getting home, making dinner, waking up, like that mundane lifestyle. I was like, this is not doing it for me. So the last 12 months, I've really consciously created my life where I get to wake up, have a slow morning, I get to go and do whatever I want. Really, I get to come and have a podcast session on a Thursday
There you
afternoon,
go.
um, and I'm just really creating the life that I've always desired. Like there's no room for mundane anymore, which is just wild. Like, I never would have thought this would be possible. And it's, yes, it's one thing that I've changed, but it's also a million other things. I've, journal every morning, making sure that I'm brain dumping all of the negative things that come into my brain, because I am quite a negative person. I think we all can be. Like, we've got, over 70,000 thoughts a day. So if we're not, a lot of that's subconscious. So if we're not, you know, brain dumping, writing it, how we want to feel in the day, what we want to bring into the day, joy, happiness, love, then our subconscious can start, being, feeling, making you feel shame, making you feel guilt. All of those little parts of you that still need healing will come into your day. So that's a huge, I've started rewiring my brain by just doing little things like that, making sure that I'm just focusing on self-care a lot, because it's a whole process. But I also try to have fun along the way. You can go too far into self-help and self discovery. So you got to have the good and you got to have a few breaks. And I feel like, me going to dancing, I love going to festivals, I love just, going out and still doing all of that stuff, but just not every weekend and getting shit-faced. We're not about that.
I think you've got a really great balance what comes with your lifestyle, and then seeing you crushing it with your business, with your lifestyle, with all the healthy choices you made. And I'm thinking now to the audience, no one wants to do the work. This is the hardest thing. No one wants to sit down and talk to themselves and say, okay, what am I bad at? What I don't like?
Yeah.
Because you address and then you need to solve it.
Everybody wants the lifestyle where you can have slow mornings, where you have abundance of money, where you can do the job that you love. Everyone wants that. But are you able to hold that? Are you able to have this lifestyle that you so badly want? I mean, those are the questions that need to be answered.
What the best tips could you give to someone that might want to start, and they just say like baby steps? What do you think? Because I feel you went through great awakening with your consciousness, then you made a decision. So you obviously had that big why that built up over the time, and you said, this is it, this is time to act. And especially if there's someone that's listening and I feel like, this is my time now. What do you say would be what I'll do next? I woke up tomorrow. What am I doing? Give me the steps.
Oh.
What Brittany would do?
What would I do? I would say do the 6-week challenge. And this is not sponsored, but do the 6-week challenge. But before that, and I think Danny runs it like 3 or 4 times a year. Do the 6-week challenge, but before that, take time off drinking. It's like a marathon, right? So when you train for a marathon, you got to train in increments. You don't just go cold turkey, run a marathon and boom. I feel like with drinking, the same thing, or giving up anything. Start small and build yourself up and surround yourself with like-minded people. You can't do it alone. And you don't need to. You don't need to do it alone. There's so many resources out there and community and like-minded people that will be there to help you and cheer you on. So I would start there. But yes, take a weekend off, take a fortnight off, see how you're feeling, start focusing on the good things. You will automatically start feeling better. And if you don't, actually that's probably a generalization, but if you don't feel better, there's obviously things that what's coming up wants to leave. So you need to address that. You can't do that while you're numbing.
Yeah.
And it's just going to get worse. It's going to get worse as you get older.
And I think the things we don't resolve, it deepens with depression and anxiety. It definitely. And there's been a few things when I always tried to put it away. I did not need any substance to do that, but I just didn't want to deal with it. And it's good to learn to sit down and have that and just behaviors even. Because we might just be so used to behave this way, the way society brought us, or the friendships and people we are surrounded with, that
Yeah.
can be negative. That can be like, when the girls like back talking or gossiping or anything like that. It's just, it's negative.
Mm-hmm.
So do you want to free yourself from it? Because these little things can really suck you in into that life where you can feel stuck. And if you feel
Mm.
something inside of you wants to flourish and getting out,
Mm.
you need to start looking and untangling all these knots, to free yourself up from
Mm.
like bad exposure, bad
And just
content.
congratulate yourself. Like, if you in my early sobriety, every day it was like I just had to take it a day at a time and just congratulate myself. Today I didn't drink. And tomorrow
Mm-hmm.
we'll just see what happens. It wasn't like, oh, I got to do 12 months. This is going to suck. It was just every day. Today I didn't drink and go me. It's like a little gold star,
Yeah.
and yeah, learn to have, a bit of gratitude for yourself because it's a big journey. It's a big step. We're so conditioned that, it's good for you. But yeah, it's a mammoth. It's a marathon.
I wonder now if you would imagine yourself a couple years back, what would you say to yourself? Would there be anything you'd be like, wake up,
Um,
do this,
what
do
would you
that?
say? Yeah, no,
You're
I
wise, are
don't think
you?
so. I think I had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I had so much fun. I went, I traveled a lot. I was so fearless. Like, and I guess I still am. Like, but I got into myself into so many situations that would make any mother cringe. But I
Mm-hmm.
think also I had a good head on my shoulders back then. Like, I always knew when to pull up, and I always felt like I was kind, and I was striving to be a better person all the time. Sometimes the alcohol would just undercut me. So if I could say anything back then, I'd probably say you don't have to prove anything, and you don't have to be in such a rush to get to where you want to go. You will get there. Um, yeah, you'll get there. And I think with good intentions and, determination and consistency, you can achieve anything. That's what I would say to myself.
And I think everything has the right time to happen. I think
Yeah,
it would happen if,
totally.
yeah,
I think
we,
I think also I listened to this quote, or someone said it. I can't remember who it was, but your greatest pain will become your greatest gift. So like what you went through as a child, or what was so unbearable back when you were growing up, will become your gift to the world. And I feel like that's so true. Like
mm-hmm,
everything that I went through when I was younger, and like, the struggles and stuff, I'm like, I can now relate to so many different people on so many different levels, and come from a place of empathy. And, you know, yeah, I feel like
100%.
it's been a blessing.
That was so on point what you just said.
Mm.
And I think, yeah, all the things that we go through and we learn it, we can really um, support and help with others and truly can be there for anyone. And I would have a couple of things in line as well, but yeah, it's not for the topic today.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's precise. And I
Mm.
think not running away from it, but let it come out, because I think all the experiences are great and I think they all happen for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
So if you work that out, you can become something much greater and those gifts can nourish your life. Yeah, on a
Yeah,
wide spectrum. Yeah.
totally. Yeah, and I think what I will say too is there's a lot of like late diagnoses of ADHD, and I feel like it's becoming a bit of a thing. But what I will say is that it has been a game changer for me, because not only have I found ways to cope with the ADHD, I've found ways to understand myself a lot better, and not be so hard on myself, and just like, understand that it is a bit of a superpower. Like, it can be debilitating, but there are ways around it, and I don't need alcohol anymore. Yeah, because
To hide.
yeah,
You don't need hiding anymore.
I don't need to hide anymore. I'm just me, and I just come out. I'm weird, and I'm wonderful, and I'm all the things.
Yeah.
Mm.
I really hope for many your story is going to be inspiring. Brittany made such a massive improvement on her life, and the way you just grew out of it, and yeah, all the great things you achieved throughout 1 year, it's impressive, and I hope this is going to be something that a lot of people are going to take it away from this podcast. Thank you so much for all this conversation today.
Thank you so much for giving me a platform to talk about all of this, and yeah, holding such a beautiful and safe space. And yeah, you mean so much to me, and thank you.
Thank you.